friend Sue from Columbia, Missouri, KMFC. Hello, Sue. Welcome to New Life.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm calling. Is this Fred?
No, this is not Fred. This is Steve, John, and Jill.
Steve Otterburn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fred's gone out to get sandwiches and coffee. So when he comes back, do you want us to have him talk to you?
Actually, I would like to talk to you too. The book that you all are putting out.
Yeah.
Called Every Heart Restored.
Right.
That's Fred and Steve.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
The real Fred
Okay,
Stoker.
that's
Right.
where Fred is.
Yes.
You read that book?
I've read part of that book, and I feel it's very degrading. My husband has read part of it, and he believes it is too. He and I both say and feel that it is almost like pornography in itself.
Really? And this is Every Heart Restored. What do you disagree with?
Okay. For one thing, the statement. A statement such as, just a moment, I had it marked as a couple of things, but it's something that's similar to whenever a man can have the same, we're not picky either, I believe is the way he put it. We're not picky either. We can have the same jolt by seeing a girl on a bus with a tight sweater as we can having sexual intimacy with our wife.
The same jolt there. What that's saying is that whereas with a woman, the arousal is so much more with touch and emotion and connection, that with a man, that arousal, that initial jolt that you're talking about there, could occur looking at a picture, looking at a stranger on a bus, or even sometimes the same kind of thing with the person that you're married to. So you don't think that that's true?
With the same kind of person I'm married to. What do you mean by that?
I'm saying that you would think that it would only occur with the person he's married to, the one he's committed his life to. But one of the realities about a man is that we're so visual that you could, if you're open to looking and glaring at different things, you can create that same kind of arousal within yourself. And
The
then,
physical part, the physical arousal.
Then our whole point is, then when you get home, you've kind of been aroused all day, and then there's nothing special at home. And so we've said, starve your eyes from all of those things so that when you get home, that is the first time that you experience arousal that day.
They're trying to solve a problem. So what do you see as degrading about that?
Well, the fact that you're saying that, okay, and in some of your other books, and I wish we had a lot of time here because I really feel this is so important. I've been married 39 years. I'm 60 years old. I don't know where you're getting all your information, but a lot of it's from bad situations that you've experienced in either your counseling.
Can you be specific, Sue, about what's degrading about that? Can you give us a specific?
Because there are 4 million people that have read these books. They've been on the Christian bestseller list, and believe me, if there was something really horrible about them, that wouldn't be the case. There would be a...
Well, excuse me for interrupting,
Sure.
but I think the reason that it's sold is because it's called Every Heart Restored, and the person is hoping to have a heart restored.
Sue, can you be specific about, we want to learn from you, can you be specific about what's degrading about what Steve said?
It's degrading because I think it's not what Christ has in mind, and you contradict yourself in the book, and my husband agrees that you do too.
Why are
Can
you...
you be specific?
Let me ask you this. Why did you pick up that book to read it? What was going on?
I picked up the book because I learned a year ago that, okay, my husband has been retired from the fire department for 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay. While he was at the fire department, when he was there, I learned that he looked at pornographic magazines while he was there.
I'm sorry.
And not that he bought them.
Yeah.
But they were there.
He was exposed.
And he would pick them up. also, in the first year and a half of our marriage, I learned last year that he truly did look at pornographic films while at the firehouse.
Okay.
Okay, I learned this, but he did answer me when I asked him.
Yeah.
Not back in '73, he denied it. But last year, when I asked him, "Did you really watch them?" he said he did. Okay, it's hurt very badly.
Yeah.
It is torn me up.
Oh, sure.
Inside, but I think that. Okay, and he tells me, we talk about we are all using the word sexual addiction nowadays. He tells me, he said, "Bonnie, I don't feel I had a sexual addiction, and the reason I feel like I didn't have one is because an hour later I wouldn't feel I wouldn't even think of the book, and when I was home with you, it didn't even occur to me to ever want anything like that in my life, to ever want any."
All right. Let me try to, when we come back from the break, try to explain why he wouldn't be interested in that book an hour later, and also just acknowledge the fact that everybody that has a lust problem isn't a sex addict. There are many different degrees of this, but we'll talk about that when we come back. So stay tuned. You're listening to New Life. We're back. Steve Arterburn here with Dr. Jill Hubbard, Dr. John Townsend. We're talking with Sue from Columbia, Missouri. And Sue, you still there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
We got some answers for you, Sue. Jill had a thought, and then I had a thought.
Well, Sue, I think it's really hard to find out news that you have found out, and there's a period of time of sorting through it and finding out what does this mean about us and about me. And, as you're reading through to get information and to try to get a handle on this, sometimes, what is said can be alarming. Like, if this were true, then what does that really mean? And to be able to handle maybe some really unpleasant things about, the state of your marriage, or what you thought to be true that is no longer true. And so that's a hard process to kind of tease those things out.
Oh,
but I think
realize that. You don't have to tell me that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so just to kind of go ahead.
Good. Well, and we're talking for the larger audience too, for them to hear as well.
And just to tag on that, so to kind of give you somewhere to go there, is the Bible teaches of two different kinds of lust. There's the normal lust that Jesus spoke about when he said, "Don't look at a woman with lust in your heart," and because you had adultery with her, even in your mind. And everyone struggles with that ever since Adam, because we all have that fallen nature. That's normal. We've also got to put
women too, or just men.
Actually, the research says both do that. So
yes.
So
and your book says, but this book is, and please excuse me for interrupting, but this book, Every Heart Restored, pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds. I bet you use the word men are hardwired. You use those terms.
Yeah, the reason, right? The reason Stephen Fred said that, because there's such a crying need for redemptive help to men who struggle with that. But the second point I wanted to make was that then there's addictive lust, and Ephesians 4 talks about that when we're separated from the life of God, we go through a series of experiences where it says there's an insatiable lust for more. That's not solved by the normal disciplines of life of self-control and love and confession and forgiveness. That's got to be solved by the redemptive, restorative process of the body coming in and providing help and healing. So the point was that let me try to finish the thought here.
Okay.
Was that the point is we've got to determine if somebody we love is stuck in pornography. Sometimes it's normal lust, and they just got to stop. Sometimes it's addictive lust, and they don't have a choice, or they have a choice. The choice is to get help. So we hope that helps.
The other thing is that your husband is struggling with this. Now he's going to tell you he's not, but it's a struggle, and you would want to be getting.
He hasn't been involved. You're not listening.
I did.
He's been retired for 14 years, and he has not done this since then.
Well, the question, though, is the issue of, is that a struggle for him, and is lust a struggle? And I found that until someone really gets a little bit of help and works through this, that they may not succumb, but it just takes up too much of their brain power in the struggle. And so I would be, if I were you, I would be asking him not, did you look at the magazines and stuff, but is this something that continues to be a bit of a struggle? Now, there's another book that I think you would really like. I'm going to yeah, go ahead.
Please let me finish.
Oh, sure.
He has said, and I have told you that, but you're not hearing it. He has been retired for 14 years, and he said he never had the desire to ever, when he left the fire department, the thought of a dirty magazine or any kind of movie like that did not even occur to him.
See, I did hear that.
Okay.
And when I said
but
the
you're
question,
no,
I said the question is whether or not he would still struggle with lust. That doesn't mean looking at magazines or movies, but that would mean lust in the heart, and there are many different ways that are things that would cause him to struggle. And anybody that looks at a magazine that's a Christian, you remember he said an hour later, I really didn't want to or need to. Well, you reach this place where you feel kind of relieved, and then you feel kind of disgusted with yourself, and the guilt, the
that's
shame
a normal
comes
cycle.
in, and he goes through that cycle. But the main thing is, I hope that the two of you will come together. I'm going to send you every woman's marriage and every man's marriage. I hope that those books will be a blessing to both of you. I'm glad you read, and I hope that you would see this as the beginning of a search for the answer, not the end.
And good that even though you had some problems with this book, that it brought the two of you together to be talking about the issues.
It's always helpful to have these kind of debates.